Or with tensions rising between communities in many parts of the world, responsible reporting is vital. And this all seems pretty irresponsible. Now, the source of the claim was this report from Israeli news channel I-24.
Truly the scene of a massacre, as many of these people were just inside their homes, families. One of the commanders here said at least 40 babies were killed. Some of them their heads cut off. He said he's never seen acts of brutality like this.
The journalist there is reporting what one IDF soldier told her. So it's hardly a neutral witness. It's one side in a war, essentially, right? And that report went viral. But after that claim emerged, Turkish-based Anadolu Agency asked the IDF to confirm it. And the IDF couldn't. A military spokesperson said that despite seeing the claim on the news, they had no details or confirmation of it. But by then it was too late, as people with large followers spread the unverified claim. Rob Burley, editor at Sky News, tweeted this: "Reports of 40 babies, some beheaded, found at a kibbutz. This isn't freedom fighting, it's depraved violence perpetrated by sick men." That post was then retweeted by our security minister, so a government minister, Tom Tugendhat. Meanwhile, broadcaster and Spectator chairman Andrew Neil posted this: "Unconfirmed reports that Hamas has slaughtered 40 babies, beheading some, increasingly and sadly look like being true." Major news outlets now carrying the reports. The English language does not contain the vocabulary for an adequate response to this. Now, this tweet is interesting because Neil is using the fact that outlets are publishing the unverified claim to make it seem like the claim is verified. Well, if they're publishing it, it must be true. Now, that's not how verification works. But it is how the race for attention works. Now, to their credit, one news outlet, Sky News, has called it out on air.
Many of the newspapers, the Metro, the Times, the Telegraph, leading on these reports from Kfar Aza. We saw our correspondent Stuart Ramsey's report from there. It seems to have come from one Israeli journalist who said that she was told by soldiers there that 40 babies had died and some of them had been beheaded. Yeah. Truly horrifying. We have not seen the evidence of that. We have asked the Israeli Defense Forces, the IDF, 3 times to confirm those numbers. They have not yet. Doesn't mean it didn't happen, but we saw a body bag with 1 child in it today when we were at Kfar Aza with this facility by the Israeli army.
This morning, Sky's international affairs editor, Dominic Waghorn, added some more information on this story. So he tweeted this: "The story about babies being beheaded at Kfar Aza is based on one live report by one Israeli reporter and has not been corroborated by officials, but it has been reported as fact around the world by experienced journalists who should know better." Waghorn followed that up by saying the IDF have also told Sky News that they cannot confirm that 40 babies were beheaded. And this afternoon, Business Insider broke another development on this story. They asked an IDF spokesperson whether they would investigate the claims. Major Nir Dinar told them this: "We're not going to investigate the condition of bodies, and even if we did, we won't comment publicly about the condition of our civilians' bodies. And babies, the war crimes that Hamas committed are obvious to the world and are seen in the world. And I don't need to provide any proof of that, and I'm not going to. It's disrespectful for the dead. Let your readers know that a soldier who handled the bodies, that was his claim. I don't have any evidence, and I'm not looking for one." Now, that seems odd to me, to not look for evidence, because, the Israelis are trying to drum up support for their action against the people of Gaza, against Hamas. I'll say against Hamas, but clearly, it's also affecting lots of people in Gaza who aren't part of Hamas, right? The Israelis are looking for support for their, the invasion they seem to be planning and the bombing they're currently doing, the siege they're currently enforcing. So I think if they thought this was true, they would actually have quite a lot of interest in verifying it. The fact that the spokesperson is saying, "Oh, we have no interest in verifying it," that suggests to me that they don't think this story is true, but they're happy for it to circulate. They don't really have any interest in saying it's not true, but they're also not going to say it is true. And so what has happened? We've had a statement from one live reporter who is quoting one soldier who it seems as if no one else has spoken to, right? And now that has led loads and loads of newspapers across the world. And as I say, we're in a very tense situation.